who's a good friend. Chandra, please join us, and thank you very much. It's great to see you.
Thank you. Great to see you, Russ. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for your time on this Friday, and I really appreciate. Hope I don't waste your time, and we will have something good out of it. So bear with me, and please address your questions. I'll be honored to answer them. I can share my screen, and there we go. So this is something I always was feeling how to include. The inclusion, humanization part and engagement part is always been important to me. And I realized I can do it very well with project-based learning in biotechnology. Started just with an experimental thing, but it really gave me good pointers. Where are we located? Somewhere in California, in Greater LA area, in Sylmar, and that's exactly our college is located, and this is how our lab looks like. We do have a stackable certificate program like many other places. The best part is the first certificate, it can be finished in one semester. We have 2 back-to-back biotech courses, 8 weeks, and with a chemistry course, it can be finished in one semester. And most of the students, they are hired right after this certificate and they continue up to AS degree. So this was my model, like hands-on training and soft skills. This will equal to employment. I always wanted to see them on that finish line. How did I adapt this for inclusion? This is how I started based on what they know, what they want to do, made them into teams, and starting with an objective or hypothesis or driving question, then reviewing literature about it. This was our plan to have the approach for projects. So I divided into 4 discrete but related steps. First of all, brainstorming everybody what they want to do. Some of them want to bring moon and stars to the lab and polish them. But then I made them realize whatever you learned in first half of your semester, you have to apply it. Where is the biotechnology part, or what you learned in hands-on training? One of the things has to be there. And then the most crucial part is team building, where I assign role to each one in a team. And team is about 4 to 5 students, not more than that, sometimes 3 students, depending on what we have in class. Then inclusive attention, kind of making them respect each other's thoughts, processes, discussions. And then it is completing the story, answering the driving question that we started with. So to successfully be inclusive in education, this is what my introduction to them is: accept, understand, and everybody, and our differences and diversity. That's what is our strength. And we do have some wonderful results on that. And I watch them through the process. I help them moderate their discussions. So learners are able to thrive in this innovative, multidimensional learning environment, and facilitated just by me. And when they start, first strategy is to give them a perspective of their strength and interest in mind, what they want to do. They all want to do something. They have something in their head. So I build on their strength, what they already know. And this is the most crucial part, but I love this strategy of team building, where if I have 5 or 6 students with degrees, which I mostly do, I'll make sure they're all not clustered in one. So one has to be the notes taker, for example. Somebody has a good handwriting, can document things very well, who can be the team leader. So strategically, but it should look random to them, I make the team and make them understand what the team building process is and what they need to do as a team. Okay. And thirdly, I myself believe that they have very original strengths they're competent to do anything they set their mind to, and they have already learned the techniques in first half of the semester, and they have to be reminded of that you can apply it, and this is how it builds their confidence to do the experiments. For engagement, I do start with their brainstorming. Every group will write on a chartboard, discuss it, what they want to do, how they want to do, why they want to do, and then I join their discussion and they present it to the whole class. I take a whole session of my day with them just to help them put out what they want to do. Something happened in last 2 years that really put us in a new challenge. I think my class was the only one on campus that I still could ensure them this will be safe distancing because we have separate islands, 7 of them, and 8th one was my desk, so we could teach 8 students at a time, 8 in the morning, 8 in the afternoon, and in between they could clean up. So we actually never stopped, even though we didn't know in the beginning what was hitting us. So I was still able to pull off the hands-on training because I believe no matter how good you are in memorizing the recipes, unless you have done the cooking, nobody will eat your food. So their hands-on training was extremely important to me. We continued with team engagement. Everybody divides the work. One is performer, one is verifier, and one is preparing the solutions and things. And I could teach them PPE, which became even more meaningful for them. That was always part of my activity. And then I sit down with each group, let them discuss, and then I teach them, or I actually moderate what results are redundant, what results are useful, and why they are. So they present their ideas, they discuss among themselves, and we sort it out. And I collected data during pandemic, and even till now, I have this data from 72 students. And I felt retention was much more. They actually used to look forward to coming and we discuss, oh, I was thinking at my work last night, if we do this, just even before knowing what they want to say, I knew they are engaged, they are thinking about it outside the class, outside the box. Their attendance improved 100%. Person with 1 attendance is the green one, and person with more than 1 absence or more than 1 absence. Otherwise, most of them were there. They wanted to do during a pandemic some examples of what the projects look like, which soap is most effective. I let them make a flow chart of what they want to do so they can envision where they are going, and then they run the experiment. Everything is discussed at the end of the class with every group. So they present to the class before we send it for the final printing. BPA, just some quick examples, provide a proficiency. One student told me that my grandmother is always taking different brands. Can I check which one is the most efficient one? Sure. Plant and animal-based milk products for fractionation, GMO, non-GMO. This was a Frito-Lay stalker who came and joined the biotech program. He wanted to check turmeric. This was done last semester. They wanted to know, my mother is always telling me to take turmeric. What does it do? Something within the realm of what we can do. For example, salivary IgG by ELISA. How can you extend it, an ELISA procedure, to saliva, because we are not allowed to have any other body fluid? And still taking their consent forms, training them, how do we actually do research? Something on biofilms. All this must lead to employment. That was the goal we had in mind, and I wanted to see that finish line. So at the end of semester, at the end of 8 weeks, actually, because their second course is 8 weeks where they do project-based learning, we advertise, invite all the employers. It is open to public. Different schools are invited. This is Wendy Johnston, one of our powerhouses in LA, always comes there. So students present publicly. This is chief of REI at UCLA, director of REI, and this girl was laid off during pandemic. She was a museum curator, but when she presented in December, this is fall semester, she already had the job offer, and she had actually joined on weekend from Thermo Fisher. So that was very encouraging that this training, when the employers see this is what they have learned in one semester, they are very excited about it. This is our college president and our view of another view of the exhibition. This is just last semester. And the guy in the middle, guy on the right is director of QC at Cedars Biomanufacturing Center. Guy in the middle was actually a construction worker. And the African-American guy is a PhD in food biotechnology, but he could not find a job. And he was the team leader for his project. And the first one here used to work at a hardware store. First generation Hispanic. Another discussion in the group, and a couple of people from different employment pharmaceutical companies, they come and check out what the students have done. A couple of students were able to present at a virtual conference, and that was an added honor to them. So I come back to my model, which was for inclusive classroom, hands-on training and soft skills. I tell them how to have mutual respect, how to have time management, because they have to finish a project from discussion to presentation after printing within 8 weeks. There is a deadline there. How to do critical thinking, how to discuss in group. And I thought that would lead to employment, but it was way more improved with project-based learning. When I realized, yes, life has no remote, we have to change it ourselves. When I started PBL, I felt the model evolving. What it meant was, if you notice, it is hands-on training multiplied by soft skills. Hands-on training is strategically there in project-based learning, but soft skills are automatically contextualized into project-based learning. They all learn how to work in a team. That was the major thing that employers would ask me. We can teach them how to pipette. We cannot teach them how to work in a team, how to be responsible for their data, how to document and check out what is redundant, what is not. And this is what I found resulted in 98 to 100% employment. And this is the model I presented to, I was honored actually to be invited to our board of directors meeting. And I presented there, and it made a big difference for how we made progress in our biotech program. So these are the contextualized soft skills with PBL, critical thinking, root cause analysis, why something didn't work that we wanted to work or we had planned on working, how to communicate effectively with the team leaders, with the class, with me, and with the rest of the faculty and the public when they are presenting their project. Their self-efficacy goes really, really high after that day. So they understand scientific study design and hypothesis development, data collection, public presentation, and most of all, sense of engagement and pride. Till today, they have been working now, some people for 3 years. They said, we never forgot. That's our business card, the project that we did. We carry it with all the pride. And I thought that was very important for the students who are the budding scientists or career pathway people. They need to have that faith in themselves. So this is what we found: critical thinking, teamwork, motivation, communication, time management, self-efficacy, problem solving. All of them, most of the time, were around 80% who said this was exceptional with PBL. And I do have data for all 4 semesters now. This is my second year of ATE funding. What happens to these students after, as soon as they are hired, or when they are hired, their first instinct is to send me a picture with their ID, like take pride in that. So this is our 4 semesters of data. In fall 22, I still have 2 people, actually one joined yesterday. One person, she's very stuck up on being in microbiology lab rather than just a career in industry. So that's the only one that has put this little Dent, which is fine. She's entitled to what she wants to choose as a career. So they all send me with their ID badge. Look, Dr. Arora, we joined the job and this is so exciting. They got even their work boots. They sent a picture of that. And that gives me all the pride and joy that yes, they are on the right path. So last spring, we had a team of employers, directors and managers who came to our campus. And this is Willie Zuniga from Grifols. He brought his HR director. I gave her my office and brought 2 computers, on the spot job offers. So before Memorial Day weekend, every student went home. They're finishing the semester on 6th of June. They were joining the job on 13th of June. So some of the non-traditional students that I felt I was committed to, who joined the program and successfully not only completed the program, but they are actually taking pride in their careers now. So law enforcement officer, grocery stocker, hardware worker store, construction worker. Another girl from BS in microbiology from CSUN, and she goes, I couldn't find a job and I thought I need hands-on training, and that's where I came here. So all these people took a lot of pride that they were able to get hands-on training. So people hired even during pandemic, 100% of them were taken, and most of employers are now complaining, when we come to your exhibition, they're already taken. And believe me or not, even for this semester that started 2 weeks ago, I already have 2 interviews set up for the students I had not even met. And they are coming to our campus. I'm honored that their team will be coming from Takeda and from Grifols. I already have the dates. I've set up the rooms. And we will also be going to field trips for them. So we are in the process of arranging bus and all that good stuff. So they already gave me a date to interview the entire class, which is 24 students for this semester also. These are some of the students. All of them are my students. I'm proud to say they are working at stem cell biomanufacturing centers at Cedars-Sinai. And the one on right side was Amazon worker. The one sitting down used to work at Michael's art store. Behind them is the Frito-Lay worker. And all of them, and in the center with printed sweater, he was an AutoZone manager. So they all were really not into biotechnology, but they learned and took so much pride in what they learned, and they have been applying that. 2 of them were invited for a TED Talk, which was such an honor, I thought, by LA Bioscience. I reached the place before them. I saw they have reserved parking spots. So I took a picture of that and I sent it to them. And they go, oh my God, this is the first in our life. Somebody has put our name in parking lot. And they were truly, truly elated by that. I met Tony Cardenas, our congressman, in one of the fundraisers that I personally went to. And I was introduced for my biotech program. And he goes, how's it going? I'm like, except the funding, everything is good. We always need more money. He goes, do you have a project? And I said, I can send you. How soon? I'm like, in a week. And I did. And guess what? I got $400,000 from Tony Cardenas. That's our college president, our board of directors, and some students. This student's story was covered in Community College Journal because even his family had told him, go back to Mexico. There is nothing that you can do. And he goes, I heard your speech. Give me 1 semester of your life and I'll change it. And he goes, now I'm the successful member of that club. You really changed my life radically. Another one, he comes to me on 2nd day of his class in prep room next to our lab, goes, Professor, do you know Cedars-Sinai? I'm like, what about it? Because my father used to wash its windows, the tall high-rise buildings. And as a 10-year-old, I used to go and help him. And sometimes I'll peek into those tinted glass doors and say, what kind of people actually work there? I used to wonder that. Do you think if I continue with your training, I can work there someday? And yes, he's working there now after his first certificate. And he's continuing his second certificate, which he is finishing this summer. So this was also an honor for us. After Cardenas, we got Luz Rivas asked our college president, and we got $10 million to have a new biotech training center because of its success in employment. And this was just 2 days ago that we were mentioned in Valley Economic Alliance and the biotech program for its very successful training. Somebody sent me this screenshot. I apologize. They circled it. Like, yes, I presented project-based learning. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. In case you're reading, I presented at NCPN, and it was very successful workshop. And I didn't realize till I saw this exceptionally generous and kind compliment to my presentation in this meeting. And believe me or not, I still feel the most precious gift you can give someone is the gift of your time and attention. And I really thank you all for doing that today.
Thank you, Chandra. That was a beautiful presentation. And we're going to hold off questions until Susan gives her presentation. So Dr. Susan Ingersoll from Valencia. Susan, please take over.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for once again echoing what Chandra said, giving me your time and attention. And I think that you're going to see a lot of overlap from her talk to what I'm going to be presenting today. I'm trying to the main focus of our ATE project, so I'm at Valencia College in Orlando, and I'm not sure how long I can keep saying we're a new program. I can now say we're a relatively new program. We've been around for about 6 years now, and as part of our program, our students are required to do an internship as part of the AS degree program. And so our ATE grant focuses on improving that internship experience, and one of them was to develop modules to enhance those soft skills and essential workforce skills. Like Chandra said, that our employees say we can teach them to pipette and we can teach them new techniques, but we can't teach them those essential workforce skills. So this is our grant team. That's me, and that's my lab manager, Soti, and when we were in DC at the ATEPI meeting, and then others of our grant team who have helped us with this work. So the outline for today, I'm going to give a brief overview of the grant and its objectives, but then I'm going to focus most of the time on our Canvas courses that we developed to enhance those biotech and workforce skills. And so this is our last year's cohort when they finish. So each year we design a t-shirt, and at the end all the students will sign one, and then we hang it up in the lab, and so it's great memory. So this is half of last year's cohort. So I have a question for you all. How many of you require internships and work-based learning as part of your program? Is it a requirement, or so do a lot of people require it, or is it not a requirement as part of your program?
It's requirement.
Oh. Yeah, so with ours, it is a requirement. And so when we first started, Orlando is not a huge hub for biotech. We are growing, but it's we don't have a huge anchor company or that hires all of our students. So when we first started the program, it was me emailing my friends and colleagues saying, hey, can you take an intern? And I knew that that was not really a sustainable model going forward as our program grew. So and then also the feedback that I had from students was that the internship process was just really kind of cumbersome, because there were so many different places you had to go to apply for an internship and then get registered and this and that. And so we just wanted to make the experience a much smoother process for our students. So our objectives of the grant were first to expand our number of partners and the number of opportunities and varieties of internships. So my background was biomedical research. So I had friends and colleagues in that, but that is obviously everybody knows biotech goes much further than that. So we wanted to expand the number of industry partners that we had. We also wanted, like I said, to enhance that in-house experience for the students. So getting them registered, finding a site, helping them develop their resumes and cover letters and interview skills and that sort of thing. Then we also wanted to add in some biotechnology training that is not covered as part of our curriculum, and also help them with those workforce skills. And then finally, to expand the biotechnology community by doing outreach. And so we do a lot of outreach with our K-12 schools. And so this is an example of that. So in this picture here, we had high school students come in and spend a day in the biotech lab. And then we have lunch with industry partners so they can ask questions. And so that is an example of this one. Here is, each month we have an event called Biotech Connect, where we bring in an industry speaker. Now it's great, we bring in a lot of our alumni. So this is one of our Biotech Connect events, and the speaker is actually one of our alumni who's working in a lab at University of Central Florida, the four-year university. And we just recently did a junior achievement event. And this is one of the displays for the junior achievement event. And at this event, we had up to 7,000 eighth graders come through for this event. So it was quite a busy day with that one. So our achievements in the first 2 years of the grant is we did increase our industry partners, and we also increased the number of internship opportunities for our students. And so we really expanded our partnership with UCF. When we first started, we only had 1 or 2 labs at University of Central Florida who were taking our students as interns, and now we're up to 15 or 20 labs at UCF who are taking our students. And we developed this informational course for our students, which I'm going to go through a little bit more. And then we also developed a Canvas courses for biotech information and those workforce skills. And then, like I said, with our outreach events. So this is a picture. We hosted our first biosymposium this fall, where we had our students and industry partner, our students presented posters for the work that they did as part of their internship. And then we invited, it was open to everyone, and invited our industry partners. So the students had a great experience with that one. Here's our group that talked to the 7,000 eighth graders at the junior achievement event. Sorry about that. And then this is one of our current students who's talking to those eighth graders at that event. So it was a very fun yet exhausting day. So now let me go out of this, and I will just kind of walk you through these Canvas courses that we developed. So this is just our informational course. And so essentially it's very simple, but this just tells them the requirements, what they need to do in order to apply for an internship, where they need to, so for example, they have to log into Navigator, and then they have to upload their resume here, and then they have to schedule an appointment here. And so it was very confusing and a very cumbersome process for our students, and they didn't know the steps. So essentially this site just walks them through how to secure an internship and get registered for the course. And then we also have a recording and some screenshots for them so that they can see exactly what they need to do. So, but then the other piece of this, so then the other piece of this is now internship sites. So these are the different labs where the students can do internships. So we have a little description about the lab, then we have a link to their lab website, and then how do the students apply. Some of our labs prefer that the students go through me. whereas some of the labs say just go ahead and email the PI or the lab manager. So you can see that we have, before when we only had about 5 or 6 industry partners, now we have that we're all biomedical. So for example, Alfred's lab, it's a plant genetics lab at a satellite campus of the University of Florida. So we have plant biotechnology, we have Applied Ingenuity does molecular diagnostic testing, and we had a number of students get hired there during COVID to do testing. Aviana Molecular, small startup company. Accident is another small startup company. Bomax Hydrogen, small startup company that is using, trying to use a chemical reaction to produce hydrogen as a renewable energy source. So I think that's pretty cool. And also they're located at Kennedy Space Center in the Life Sciences building. So if you're working in this lab, the lab next door to you is preparing experiments that are going to go up to the International Space Station. I'm like, how cool is that? Like, I want to go work there. So yeah, so as you can see, we've definitely diversified our internship opportunities for our students. And then we also have now a number of labs at University of Central Florida who are accepting our students. So we went from having about 3 industry partners to a number of industry partners as well. So then the other Canvas course that we developed, so that one is just an informational one. So then when the students do get registered in their internship, then they will complete these modules as part of their internship requirements as well. And so the modules that we created were based off of surveys of both of our students and our industry partners. What did they want to learn that was not included as part of our curriculum? So we have some that are biotech related, and then others that are those essential workforce skills. So for the biotechnology research, because biotech is so broad and many of our students do not know all the opportunities that are available to them, the first one is just exploring different areas of biotechnology and visiting different labs to see, different, to see the different opportunities available. And then at the end, they take a short quiz and do a discussion. Emerging technologies. So what these are is we decided on genome editing, so CRISPR-Cas9, and then mRNA vaccines, which I think both are very timely. And so these modules are YouTube videos that then have questions embedded in them. So the quiz is really part of the video that they watch. And so, and they, at the end of these, they should be able to answer these questions. Then the other one is biomanufacturing. So we do not have biomanufacturing as part of our program. But it is obviously coming in, a very important for them to know. So in this one, they watch a video where it gives them a background of biomanufacturing, and then they do the biomanufacturing virtual lab at the end of it, and then there's just some more information on biomanufacturing. So, and now with our essential workforce skills. So the first one is networking. As you know, that's important for students to get a job, and building your network leads to opportunities. And so we have information on why it matters and the powers of networking, and then more information, and then the activity that they, so then for this, they have to attend a networking event of some sort. Throughout the semester, we have lots of opportunities for them, and we even have some that are online if they don't, if they can't can't make it to one of the opportunities offered on campus. And then they have a discussion that they have to answer about the networking. So, and then just some more resources about networking. And then the final one is research integrity. So this was one of the things that, the students are new to research and they're new to science, so they don't know what might constitute, a breach of integrity. And so for this, we have some background information on a YouTube video and background information on research integrity. And then we give them this scenario, and this is actually one of our industry partners, and he helped us develop this. This is Alfred's lab. And basically, what would you do if this mistake happened in the lab, or this mix-up happened in the lab? What would you do and how would you handle it? And then, what would be the implications and what are the future outcomes? So to really think about, because I don't think anybody inherently wants to make a mistake, but they're pressuring you, like, we need the data, what happened? And like, well, I think I might have switched the tubes, I'm not sure. So do you just say, oh yeah, everything's fine, or do you go back and, how do you handle that situation, just to get them thinking about it? So, so those are the modules that we developed as part of our ATE grant. We just implemented these last spring. That was the first time that we had given them to students, and our preliminary feedback has been very positive. They thought that it was very useful and helpful, because prior to us developing these, they had to complete different reflections, but they were very general, because every student at Valencia filled out those same reflections, and so they were very general. So they felt, previous to this, they didn't feel that it really helped them in their biotech career. Another thing that we've added is Valencia now offers the city human subject research training to everybody, and so they're not required to do it because it can be time consuming, and if you're not planning on going into that type of research, but we also have city training, the human subject research training, available to them. So once again, another thing that they can add to their resume, and say, if they're going to work in a research lab doing human subject research, they can say, hey, I've done this training. So we've added that for them as well. So with that, I would just like to say thank you. And this is our first ATE grant, and so it's part of the Mentor Connect program with Elaine. And it really does take a village. So, and then, like Chander, we were the only people on campus in 2020 also. And so it does take a village, from everybody to administrators to the custodial staff to everybody. So, so thank you for your time.
Susan, thank you very much. What a great presentation too. So really appreciate the two presentations. And now we're open for questions. And Cassandra, I'm going to have you help me with fielding the questions. How's that?
Yes, I would unmute. I think our first question was from Lori. If you're still in the call, you want to go and unmute to ask your question that you had?
Sure. It's just a question, and I honestly have the same question for both speakers. At a community college, you don't always get students who are great. And so one question is, how do you achieve 100% employability? How are you screening them? How do you get rid of the ones who aren't great, or are they really truly all great? And then same question about internships. When you've got a student who isn't going to be great in an internship, what do you do when they have to complete an internship?
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, so our internship is required for our AS degree. We do have 2 other technical certificates that are part of the program, and the internships are not required for that, for those technical certificates. So it's only required for the AS degree. We do not screen. We are open access. So anybody who takes the prerequisites and passes Gen Bio and passes Gen Chem can enter into the program. So that is our screening process, is that they have to pass those 2 classes. As far as so one student comes to mind who she's not going to go on and be a PhD and, you know, win the Nobel Prize. However, she would be a very good technician if you train her on a specific skill, and she can go in and she can do that skill, you know, every day, and she feels like she's contributing. And so if I have a student like that, I talk to the lab that they're going to be working in and just explain the situation and say, you know, that, and make them help them understand that student. But and I don't know if it's like this for every state, but also in our state, when it comes to reporting numbers for employability or placement, they also consider if they're continuing their education and pursuing a bachelor's degree as placement. So, because the last numbers I got from the state of Florida was that we did have 100% placement, and I'm like, really? That doesn't seem quite right. But when I then learned that if they're continuing their education and pursuing a bachelor's degree, then that counts as well.
Thank you. And wonderful presentation, Susan. And I'll echo somewhat what Susan said, except I'm putting placement as people who have actually joined the job. These two people who did not join the job last time, but they were selected by two companies. They want, one of them was specifically micro lab. So I'm actually counting the people who are working and continuing education. And the people who are not counted are the ones who are transfer students, who are not looking for a job after first certificate. Those are not counted. But otherwise, everybody has joined. The key is two things. Number one, I have 7 employers now in last 2 years. I keep adding to the list. And I really watch them in first half of the semester and mentally think which industry they would be best fitted for. Is it pharma white, where they're making all the natural supplements, or is it leaf labs, or is it Takeda? Do they require very structured part, or are they really thinking very critically? That is my spotting. I do not share it with them, and I recommend them to those companies. For example, these 6 people working in CBC, I do not teach them anything except aseptic techniques and how to grow the cells. And every job has the training. If they can follow an SOP, they know their terminology, which I introduce them to. They know what is CGMP, why is documentation required. They can fit there. So another thing that I do, like Susan said, I bring alumni there. And to bring them, there is no requirement for this first certificate or the program. No prerequisite, otherwise that will put an extra layer. And that's how I was able to pick up the non-traditional students, especially during what happened in last 2 years. A museum curator, never ever thought I'll do biotechnology. I had a software bachelor's degree holder who comes to me like, I enrolled in this program, but do you think I'll be okay? Like, you will be more than okay. I think it's a perfect marriage between biotechnology and software. And guess what? In the end of it, the first certificate, he had 3 interviews. One of them was offering $22 an hour. And when they realized I pushed their envelopes, he has bachelor's degree. Like, we can offer him $30 an hour. But he wanted to go to Cedars-Sinai because he met one of the alumni from there. He goes, stem cell research, that's where if I can apply my skills there. And they interviewed him on Thursday. And the previous company offered him, if you join by this Friday or give us your decision by this Friday, we will give you $34 an hour. Actually, he got $34.50 for his job offer. He's the happiest person on this earth. He could not find a job after his bachelor's degree in software for 6 months. When I have every student is what I have to bring the best out of them. I look at them as one person. Where will this person fit? Another thing is I do bridge to employment workshop for them. So different industry partners, they will come and talk to them. What is our industry and what do we require? So it connects from both ends, if I may say so. In addition to the field trips, I do have guest speakers which talk about employment in their industry and alumni, completing the full circle, which really enables. I was here last semester, and when they hear that, and today this is what you're doing. There is no substitute for that. So I do have those complete circles. I do have that thing in mind, which industry they will fit in. And it is only 7 employers, like 2 of them are in direct competition coming to a community college campus, just not for job fair, but to interview all my students. I think it's an honor for me to have that kind of employer competition, if I may say very humbly. I'm very grateful to them. But we prepare them, our coordinator and me, and our co-PI, Dr. Parr, exceptional support. We check their resumes, prepare their resumes. I do the mock interviews with them. I do a workshop, how to actually answer questions in interview, what should they be prepared for. Being on other side of the table for some time has helped me do that. And I do take pride and honor in being able to take these students to the finish line. And I really mean it. These are students who have joined the jobs. And it is a true success that I feel very humbled and honored to be part of.
Thanks, Chandra. And thanks, Susan. Cassandra, I know time is running. Do we have any more questions? I think I saw 1 more or 2 more.
Yeah, sorry, we did. And I got cut out. So I lost the chat. I think it was
Okay, I got it.
Catherine who had a question for Susan.
Yeah, I can see it in the chat.
Okay, good.
So the requirement for the internships is for the students to do 160 hours of work at their site. They can do it over 1 semester or 2 semesters. It is really between the students and their internship site. They typically are not paid. However, most of the students, I would say, are offered at least a part-time position with the lab at the completion of their internship, or even before they complete their internship. Not all, but yeah, I would say, the majority of them are offered at least a part-time position in the lab when they're done.
Thank you. I appreciate the answer to the question. I have kind of a slight related follow-up, if that's okay, which is then how the heck do you get students to do it? Because most of my students work full-time jobs, 9 to 5 during the week. So we've never included internships because we felt like that was going to then prevent students from participating. I love the idea of internships, but most of my students have families to feed. I'm assuming a lot of yours do too. So how do you make that work?
We try to be as flexible with them as we can. One thing that I learned about our program is that we actually have a higher number of first-time in college students, so traditional college age students, than a lot of other AS programs. And I'm really not sure why that is compared to others. So they are working full-time jobs, but I would say the majority of our students don't have kids and families and that sort of thing. Now, certainly some of them do, but so that does help. And like I said, we just try to be as flexible with them. And also our industry partners understand that as well. And so most of them, not all, but most of them are willing to work with the students to get that done.
Great. Thank you so much, Susan. I appreciate you sharing.
I would love to pay them, but I would love to put that in a grant, but then I'm not sure how I can justify sustainability after that.
Yeah.
So
I totally get it.
Yeah.
Chandra, do you have any other comments on that?
2 things. Number 1, I did find employers who would pay them for internship. I really don't want them to be driving, especially with gas prices in LA. Some small stipend. I've also arranged with our extra funding that as a college, as biotech department, not a department, but unit, we will pay them some compensation, some stipend, up to $2,000 for summer. So we have come up with that with the additional funding that we got from our congressmen and our assemblywomen. I'm very grateful to them. As a college, yes, we do give them a stipend. Third thing, which is most important, because we haven't been able to use all this money we don't need to use all this money. The reason being, everybody who's employed joins the internship as a course gets double credit, means their employment is considered as internship. So that's why if they have a job at the end of fall, job at the end of spring, summer, they just have to enroll it. Their job will be considered as internship. So that has helped them a lot.
Great. We have another question in the chat. Cassandra,
we
take
do
it
that
away.
as well.
Yeah, we have one more question in the chat from Evan. What type of marketing or outreach do you use to attract students to your programs?
For me, I can tell you my students come back to me. Can we present to our class, because they see their alumni? I never had to chase them. And first thing they do is when they get their badge, they send me a picture. Then it's after that, it's very easy.
We just try to make ourselves very visible on campus. And then also working with our partner K-12 schools by having field trips come. Like I said, we did that junior achievement thing, which targeted 8th graders. And so they all got a bookmark to tell them all how, or everybody that stopped by our booth, you know, they all got a bookmark to tell them about biotech. We table at events on campus. So we just try to make ourselves very visible, and then also, you know, meeting with advisors. So Valencia has 8 campuses and we're on one of the smaller ones. So making sure that everybody at the college knows that we exist.
Yeah, thanks for the answer. We're looking to start up a new program, hopefully by fall. And I was just asking if there's any kind of special sauce we can use to attract students right off the bat.
We have applied for a bachelor's in biomanufacturing now. It has been submitted. So we would know by fall if we can start bachelor's program. Yay, that's what we are looking forward to. And also our students have been surveyed. They want to come back and finish their bachelor's degree with us. So that's another loop that we are trying to create. And K through 12, I hold summer workshop for them. Our coordinator is wonderful for outreach. We have 5 schools for dual enrollment. And I also am a liaison for AB LA program, Amgen Biotech Educational Program. And as part of California biomanufacturing involving the industry, thanks to especially Willie Zuniga, he initiated that. I was selected as one of the subject matter experts. We have created a BioTC, Biotech Credential Certificate, which is hosted by Biocom. And our college, our biotech program is the hub for that. So I conduct that exam with our IT team, and most of the colleges, it is meant for community college trained people. They get an electronic badge at the end of it. Like next exam is coming in on actually Cesar Chavez Day on 31st of March. So I'll be very happy to put the BioTC link there if anybody would be interested to check that.
Thanks, Chandra. Thanks, Susan. Lori, you want to come on quickly and give your comments? And then Daniel.
Sorry, the only comment was, and I think this may be Maryland state law, but we can't have volunteers. So the students, if they do internships, it's either for credit or for pay. I'm not 100% sure about that law thing. It's practice is what it is.
That's true in Maine as well. All of the industry partners insist on paying the interns. Hi, Lori.
Great. Any other comments for the good? Cassandra, do we have any other messages? We want them to take the survey.
Yep, the survey. Don't forget to register for the next project talk, which is not next Friday, but the Friday after that. And of course, we'll be sending out email reminders for both of those things.
It's great to see everybody on this Friday, and look forward to the next one. Thanks very much. Have a great day.